Ladies and gentlemen, this next segment of the podcast is brought to you by the Heritage Foundation. For over 50 years, the Heritage Foundation has been America's outpost in Washington, fighting against the D.C. federal bureaucracy and working to secure a future that allows Americans to flourish. You see, for too long, conservative principles have been ignored by many of the very leaders claiming to fight for America. But the Heritage Foundation is proud to hold our leaders accountable and stand up for America's founding principles, paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mike Levin.
Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Wow, I'm back home. And by back home, I mean with you. With you in this time slot, in your markets, on your radio, on your podcast, however you listen, I'm home. With my big family, you. And it turns out I got an email earlier this morning, or maybe it was a text from Ben Ferguson. He said, "Congratulations, Mr. Producer." And I said, "For what?" May 5th, 2002 is when you started on radio. It's 23 years today when I started a Sunday show on WABC. 23 years ago today. Time flies when you're having fun. It doesn't seem like it. 23 years ago. And I was doing that program from noon to 2 in New York. I love New York. I love the people in New York. Well, not all of them, the libs, of course, but the good people of New York. And then we took over the 6 p.m. time slot on WABC September 2nd, 2003. And then syndicated February 6, 2006. We were expanded to 3 hours. February 2nd, 2009. I co-founded and started Levin TV March 7, 2016. Then we started on Fox, Life, Liberty, and Levin February 25, 2016. But the point is, 23 years ago today, the whole thing started. Started right here. Right here in New York. And then spread all over the country, Mr. Producer, like a bad virus. No, I'm just kidding. It's fantastic. I'm so honored. I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed to each and every one of you. It's the audience that makes this happen. The audience. The audience that makes this happen. And I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. If it wasn't for Rush giving me advice and Hannity giving me advice, I really wouldn't be here. I really wouldn't be here. Now, I help them a lot, too, but that's not my point. I had a lot of questions about how to pursue this, how to get affiliates, how to do this, how to do that. And these were two men, and are, the case of Sean, who could not have been more supportive. So I'll never forget that. This coming Monday, I have what I consider to be a very big announcement. This coming Monday. No reason to sit on the edge of your chair till next Monday. I'm just giving you a heads up. Now, where was I last week? Well, obviously, I was in Israel. Who invited me? Invited me and my family. Christians United for Israel. CUFI, Christians United for Israel. Founded by who I call and my family calls our pastor, John Hagee, of the Cornerstone Church in San Antonio, Texas. And his wonderful, wonderful family, Diana, his wife, Sandy, his daughter. We were there with other pastors, a bishop, not a bishop at the Catholic Church, but a bishop nonetheless. And with literally hundreds and hundreds of Christians and together with the Jews, thousands of people. I need to tell you something. Righteous Gentiles, that is, non-Jews. What a remarkable group of people you are. What a remarkable group of people you are. Anti-Semitism is not just on the rise, ladies and gentlemen, truly is everywhere. I'm not saying you got to look around your corner all the time, but it is blatant, it is horrible. It's all over the podcast industry. It's all over the internet and bloggers. It's all over Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. The enemy, Qatar and others, are spending billions and billions of dollars, and they are influencing our media. They are influencing our culture, our politics. It is everywhere. All you have to do is when I post something on Mark Levin's show on our social sites is look at the comments. Go back to Israel Jew and just the most foul language for posting my opinion. I consider myself a tremendous American patriot. This is my homeland. This is my country. My family's been here 100 years. Well, let's see, 120 years. 120 years. You just can't wash this off you, this hate. It's just unbelievable. And so CUFI, Christians United for Israel, and so many fantastic Christian leaders, Christian organizations, churches, who understand. When I talk about Iran, I'm talking about the United States. I'm talking about protecting our country. I'm talking about ICBMs with nuclear warheads. It is insanity to me, these people who think that it's either no big deal or they want to know if it's okay if they get nuclear weapons. No, it's not okay for the only terrorist state on the face of the earth to have a nuclear weapon. Now, that's not what I want to get into right now. I'm just explaining this. No, it's not okay for Qatar, which has 300,000 people, which is a pretend country. It was created out of nothing. A brutal dictatorship aligned with Iran, funded Hamas, to be funding our sports organizations and all these other things. There's no constitutional argument whatsoever to justify an enemy using their money to destroy our country. There's not a single founder or framer of the Constitution or a serious constitutional expert who believes that. None. None. This isn't some great civil rights and civil liberties battle people are leading on behalf of these colleges and universities and free speech. That's a pathetic joke. Where are all of our conservative organizations that have been formed and created to fight what's going on our college campuses? Are they fighting the Islamo-Nazis? Are they fighting the funding from Qatar and Communist China? Are they there confronting the Islamo-Nazis and the Marxists? Are they? Maybe they are, but I don't hear much about it. I don't see much about it. The posting that's done on behalf of these organizations is about efforts that they oppose to protect Jews. And a twisted, radical view of free speech that has never existed. Never. When foreign governments are promoting boycotts in the United States, when foreign governments are promoting the boycott of American businesses in the United States that dare to do business with Jews, when foreign governments are threatening corporations that they will not do business with them if they do business with Jews, and Congress is stepping in and saying, no, we're going to make that illegal. That's not a First Amendment issue. That's insanity to claim that's a First Amendment issue. There's not a Supreme Court decision that says it's a First Amendment issue. It's been the position of the United States for half a century that this needs to be fought, because we cannot allow the tentacles of foreign governments to reach into our society with their money, with their influence, with their blackmail, with their boycotts to determine what takes place in our own country. That has nothing to do with the First Amendment. That's absurd. You want to go on a college campus and yell to the top of your lungs that you hate Jews? You're free to do it. You're free to march down the street like Nazis, the Supreme Court has ruled. Then do it. That's not what we're talking about here. Foreign governments, and what Congress wanted to do is expand it to NGOs, international organizations. You cannot influence what takes place in our country by using money to foment violent, riotous behavior, or behavior that contributes the hate and the rot that takes place in these societies and foments them in our society. If an individual wants to come into our country, comes in legally, and can't shut the hell up on their soapbox about Jews, they're free to do it. That's not what we're talking about. But we have imbeciles who just keep being stupid. Stupid. What's her name? Margaret Greene, whatever. What is her name? Is an idiot. Marjorie Taylor Greene is an absolute idiot. At least on this subject, she is. She has no idea. They're all following Massey off the cliff. Massey, a radical libertarian, who most of you would have nothing in common with. Zero. Nothing. You see these votes in Congress, you'll have like every single conservative, constitutionalist, Republican, and then Massey. He's free to do that. It's okay. But he's not the people, we the people. Neither is Greene, who's now attacking Donald Trump. There's the other thing. They want fealty and purity to Donald Trump. Okay, I get it. But they keep attacking him. They attack his policy when it comes to Iran. They attack his policy when it comes to national security. When he took out Suleiman, they attacked him. She's attacking him now because they dismantle their nuclear weapons and their ICBM system so they can't hit America, and that includes you, Georgia. Either they do it in a peaceful agreement or the president says he's going to take them out. They're attacking him. I'm supporting him. They're attacking him. I'm supporting him. Oh, Mark, that's because you whisper in his ear. I haven't talked to the president. He called me. He asked me to go on his council about this. I don't think ever. As a matter of fact, ever. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it. Ever. So who's whispering in his ear? Who? The fifth column isolationists. They're the ones whispering in his ear. President Trump built this massive coalition. Genius. Brilliant. He's a leader. And we have these Lilliputians who claim they represent MAGA and the American people. Based on what? Based on nothing. Zero. Zero. And no, Margaret, what's her name? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be rude. No, Marjorie Taylor Greene. He's not undermining the base. You are. And you speak for yourself and your district, perhaps. You don't speak for the 14.5 million listeners that I have. And if you think it's okay for Iran to get a nuclear weapon, then say so. Get up and say it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon with intercontinental ballistic missiles that can hit our cities. Put that press release out. Send it to your constituents in Georgia. Do it. It's okay. Who hit us on 9/11, Marjorie? Who hit us on 9/11? Who attacked our Marine barracks, Marjorie? Who attacked our 2 embassies, Marjorie? It wasn't the Jews. It wasn't the evangelical Christians. These people give aid and comfort to the Islamists. That's what they do. They sound so similar to the Marxists these days, don't they? They do to me. And by the way, little creepy sites like Mediaite, run by that clown, Dan Abrams. Why do you even exist? Oh, you know what Mark Levin said about Marjorie Greene? Oh, you know what Trump said about this? You know what are they, a bunch of little girl gossips? What are they over there? It's disgusting. They're pathetic. See the Drudge Report? Does anybody even look at it unless you're a hardcore nutjob on the left? Authoritarianism is on the rise. I want to get into that when we come back. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Folks, the first 100-plus days of the Trump presidency has been astonishing, and the Heritage Foundation has been keeping track. Americans were sick and tired of the status quo in Washington, D.C., and that had led to a border crisis and an erosion of family life in America. They sent President Trump back to Washington with a mandate to restore American greatness. And the good news is that America's back. Now, if you want to see exactly how he did it, go to heritage.org/Levin. That's heritage.org/Levin. To get your free list of Trump's 100 wins in 100 days. The Heritage Foundation has been counting wins in the first 100 days since President Trump's new administration took office. And I'm sure you can name many of those wins, from taking steps to secure our border to cutting government waste. But the Heritage Foundation has a comprehensive list of the top 100 wins so far. So go to heritage.org/Levin and get your list. That's heritage.org/Levin. Paid for by the Heritage Foundation. Well, I'll just announce it here. I read what she said. Marjorie Taylor Greene, no problem with Iran getting nuclear weapons, intercontinental ballistic missiles. No problem. Donald Trump's trying to prevent it. She's talking about forever wars. We elected him to prevent war. Yeah, well, that's what he's trying to do. We also elected him to try and make sure that Islamo-Nazis, terrorists who've struck the United States on multiple occasions, don't have the ability to hit us with a nuclear weapon. Now, I bet if I put that out for a vote in America, should Iran, an Islamo-Nazi regime that talks about death to America, that wants to assassinate the President of the United States, said so as recently as 72 hours ago by one of the head Islamo-Nazis' confidants, that it's okay if they have a nuclear weapon and missiles to hit our country? Well, then say it, because that's her position, Georgia. That's her position. She says never wars. I say never nuclear wars. I'll be right back. Folks, if you're like me, you've been closely watching President Trump's first 100 days, watching as he fulfills his campaign promises and the mandate he was given by the American people. And I'm happy to report that the Heritage Foundation identified 100 of President Trump's biggest wins for Americans in his first 100 days in office. Now, if you go to heritage.org/Levin today, that's heritage.org/Levin, you can get your free copy of the Heritage Foundation's list of Trump's 100 wins in 100 days. Everyone knows some of what he's done, from securing the border to protecting women and girls in sports. But you have to see the full list of what his administration has accomplished in only 100 days. It's truly astonishing. I've seen this list. You need to go see it too. Go to heritage.org/Levin, heritage.org/Levin. Get your free copy of 100 Wins in 100 Days. That's heritage.org/Levin. Paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Mark Levin, tough as hell.
That's why I like Mark Levin. And I'm not sure a lot of people like him. He's tough as hell. But I like him. I love him.
Call in now. 877-381-3811.
Yes, do you know it's the now position of the populists out there that Iran can get a nuclear weapon with ICBMs aimed at the United States? That's what populism is? Did you know that, Mr. Producer? Populism. Is it popular? Is that a popular position? No more wars. Hey, I asked a question. It's not about no more wars. There's a country that's evil, that wants war, that wants nuclear warheads with ICBMs. Got it? Got it? ICBMs, not for Tel Aviv or Jerusalem, for Los Angeles, for Atlanta, for Detroit, for Philadelphia, for New York. We were hit on 9/11. Do we not learn from that? And if they had an atomic weapon or a chemical weapon or a biological weapon, what the hell do you think they'd do with it? No, Mark, you must be a neocon. Are you whispering into Trump's ear? These conspiracy, low IQ buffoons. You know, ladies and gentlemen, just because people get elected to Congress doesn't mean they know a damn thing. Just because they write for Mediaite doesn't mean they know a damn thing. Just because they run organizations and fundraise doesn't mean they know a damn thing. Anybody who tells you, red-blooded Americans, that it's okay for our enemy, they keep saying death to America, that tries to assassinate our president, that it's okay if they have a nuclear weapon, is insane. That's not populism. It's not conservatism. It's not constitutionalism. It's insane. These grifters, these self-promoters, these know-nothings. There's not another country on the face of the earth where they have people saying, oh, it's okay if an enemy that says that we want to destroy you and says it over and over again, an enemy that has already hit you, it's okay if they get a nuclear weapon. Is there another country on the face of the earth that has boneheads and nimrods like that in Congress with microphones, with television and video cameras? Is there another country on the face of the earth where a-holes like this have platforms? Are you saying take them away? No, I want you to hear them. But I want to interpret it for you because that's what they're saying. One of them even said, well, India has it and Pakistan. What the hell cares? The hell does that have to do with anything? Nothing. Zero. Woo, baby. National Public Radio and the PBS, the Public Broadcasting System. They're very angry that Donald Trump wants to get rid of them. Folks, we don't need government radio and we don't need government TV. If there's a void to be filled, the private sector will fill it. Don't worry about your favorite programs on government TV or government radio. They will not only survive, they will do even better in the private sector. Unless, of course, the people want nothing to do with it. We don't need government-run TV and radio. That's it. Case closed. We've got thousands of channels on cable and satellite. So many, you don't even know how many there are. And even more than cable and satellite, digital. It's all over the place. Pluto. And so many others, Mr. Producer. Radio. How many more radio stations do you need? Now we got podcasts. NPR is so popular. Good. Then they don't need government subsidies. The problem is NPR is another radical left propaganda operation. Here's one right here. I just pulled it. NPR, people who fled authoritarian regimes say Trump's tactics remind them of home. Funny, they don't talk to the people who call this radio show, who have escaped tyranny all over the world, and say that the Democrat Party and our media and their tactics remind them of communism and fascism. Do they? No, they don't. Of course not. There's a great piece here I'm trying to find in the Federalist. Really good piece. I want to share this with you. By Brianna Lyman. And the headline is, here are 12 reasons why NPR and PBS deserve to be defunded. Now, I'm not going to read the whole piece. It's just a little too long. Number one, NPR refused to cover Hunter Biden's laptop. In other words, a cover-up on behalf of the Democrats. Number two, 100% of NPR's editorial positions are held by registered Democrats. 100%. 87 positions are all held by registered Democrats, okay? What is that? That's Al Jazeera, which is owned and run by Qatar, by the way, and Pravda. Number three, NPR spread tear gas hoax. Falsely claimed demonstrators outside the White House were tear gassed by U.S. Park Service in June 2020. Number four, NPR editor promoted defense of looting. Defense of looting. Number five, country music is a symbol of racism. A symbol of racism. In another podcast episode in August of 2023. Number six, in other words, attacking red-blooded Americans, but they don't happen to live in the cities, you know. They don't happen to live in the cities, so therefore they're white supremacists. And country music proves it. Sick. Number six, NPR said Declaration of Independence is offensive. Oh, yeah. They hate the Declaration of Independence. They hate it. Why? Because it's based on Judeo-Christian values. What does that mean? Because it refers to God in one form or another 7 different times. That's what that means. Eternal truths. That's what natural law, natural rights, that's what that means. Unalienable rights, meaning you don't get your rights from the Democrats in government. You get them from a higher authority, God. So they hate it, which is why they hate the founding of America. Number 7. NPR apologized for calling illegal aliens illegal. Number 8. If you use the wrong skin color emoji, you could be a racist. Number 9. PBS dedicated an entire documentary to reparations. I tell you, it's hard left, Democrat propaganda. That's what it is. The show Frontline. You know what I like about the show Frontline? It's music. Other than that, it sucks. Number 10. PBS White House reporter called Trump Mount Rushmore address a love letter to white resentment. Why do we need this? We get enough of this already. Why do we have to pay for it? But this is what the ruling class government thinks of you. That's what NPR and PBS are. They're mouthpieces for the ruling class establishment. That's what it is. Number 11, PBS encouraged viewers to stay woke. Seat at the table episode. Stay woke. You know what woke is? It's Marxism. That's what it is. That's all. Another form of Marxism. Number 12, PBS host biased 2024 convention coverage. According to Newsbusters' Clay Waters, PBS treated the RNC 72% negative, 28% positive commentary. But the DNC, of course, 12% negative, 88% positive. Yeah, they need to go. It's not like we're not going to have, communication, free speech, all the rest of it without them. Quite the contrary. The government should not be spending money giving its imprimatur to news operations. What do you think? We're Qatar? What do you think? We're fascistic Russia? NPR. May 1, May Day. Heard on the weekend edition. Frank Langan, whatever the hell. People who fled authoritarian regimes say Trump's tactics remind them of home. So you have to go out of your way, try and find certain people to push this narrative. Let me be abundantly clear. Donald Trump has complied with every syllable of the Constitution. Right, Margaret, what is it? I'm sorry, Margaret Taylor Greene? Right? Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? Every syllable of the Constitution. Right, Marjorie? Do we agree on that, Marjorie? Being a populist and all, that doesn't mind if Iran gets nuclear weapons. Boy, I'd love a poll on that and a vote on that. Oh, that's the populist position. They act like dictators. They make an announcement and then they claim they represent the populist position. They don't represent crap. It's not the populist position. Suicide is not the position of the American people. I hate to tell her that. But let me go on. You know, maybe I'll talk about her every day for the next year, Mr. Producer. Should I do that? Maybe we should really follow her closely in her fantastic career. Should I do that? I might. You never know. I've done things like this before. Just never know. And so they go on and on. They include Michigan lawyer Amir Makhled. Oh, good. Michigan lawyer Amir Makhled. Oh, yeah, very representative. In the middle of a judicial tyranny, despotism, where they're trying to overthrow the vote of the people, our franchise last November, overwhelmingly putting Donald Trump in office, overwhelmingly, were unelected federal judges who were put in their positions, for the most part, by Democrats, as Schumer said, progressives, to thwart the Trump agenda. Trump's the authoritarian. He's appealing to decisions. He hasn't defied a single one. But these judges are defying the Constitution. What they're really saying is they don't mean authoritarianism. These are very stupid propagandists on NPR and PBS and the like. Donald Trump is defying them. They hate the Constitution. Now, how do we know that? They've told us this forever. It's the white man's Constitution. It's what they told us. It was written by a bunch of slavers, they called them. Slavers. That Constitution was written to put in place a white supremacist society. This is what our kids are being taught in colleges and universities, the Marxists and the Islamists. This whole society, CRT, DEI, the 1619 Project. Remember when they used to push this stuff openly? Now they wave around the Constitution, the white man's Constitution, the slaver's Constitution. And Donald Trump is violating the white man's Constitution and the slaver's. Do these damn fools even know what they're saying from day to day? They are dangerous. They're extremely dangerous. They're the ones who are the authoritarians. They're the ones who support one-party rule. They're the ones who try and shut down speech that they disagree with. They're the ones who take money from the Middle East and communist China in order to intimidate and bully against people who have a different point of view. They're the ones that have taken over the faculty and the media. They're the ones who want to change our election laws so the Democrat Party can never lose. They're the ones who attack the construct of the Supreme Court. And they're the ones who trash the Constitution and yet wave it around when somebody's trying to uphold it, like the president. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Folks, the first 100-plus days of the Trump presidency has been astonishing, and the Heritage Foundation has been keeping track. Americans were sick and tired of the status quo in Washington, D.C., and that had led to a border crisis and an erosion of family life in America. They sent President Trump back to Washington with a mandate to restore American greatness. And the good news is that America's back. Now, if you want to see exactly how he did it, go to heritage.org/Levin. That's heritage.org/Levin. to get your free list of Trump's 100 wins in 100 days. The Heritage Foundation has been counting wins in the first 100 days since President Trump's new administration took office. And I'm sure you can name many of those wins, from taking steps to secure our border to cutting government waste. But the Heritage Foundation has a comprehensive list of the top 100 wins so far. So go to heritage.org/Levin and get your list. That's heritage.org/LEVIN. Paid for by the Heritage Foundation. I want to thank all the hosts that stepped in for me, our great hosts. Very, very much appreciative of that. Very much. Here's Mohammed Masri, President of American Islam and Chairman of the Board of the Islamic Society of Central Florida on June 21, 2024. Cut one, Mr. Producer, nice and loud. Go.
We are buying these churches. We bought 3 churches so far, converted them to masjids, and now we have one we are buying with a school to make it, because we have to serve the same people. The people who were part of that community, one day they will be Muslims. So we'll make it into a masjid and an Islamic school.
A masjid is a mosque, and an Islamic school. Hold on now. A mosque and an Islamic school for our children and their children. Go ahead.
Children, inshallah. 100 years ago, they invaded the Muslim world, and they built missionary schools and destroyed Islamic schools and masjids. Today, we bring the favor back, turn their churches into masjids and their schools into Islamic schools. Bring the light of Islam to here. We're able to buy, ready to go, institutions that have been there for a long time, but they emptied out.
So he's making clear what I warned about forever. This is revolution by immigration. And this guy, Mohammed Masri, president of the American Islam and chairman of the board of the Islamic Society of Central Florida, he's not a small player. When you look at this, you look at Texas, you look in other places, this is no joke. I'll be right back. This segment of the podcast is exclusively sponsored by Pure Talk. Pure Talk offers great coverage and can save your family money on your wireless bill every single month. Go to puretalk.com to find the plan that's right for you. Thank you again for listening, and thank you so much for this sponsorship, Pure Talk.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mike Lawler.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. I want to circle back, Mr. Producer, to that cut one. Mohammed Masri, president of American Islam and chairman of the board of the Islamic Society of Central Florida, about a year ago. Keep in mind, he's not talking about our people need to assimilate or we want to work with our Christian and Jewish and atheist and agnostic friends. No, he's talking about conquering the United States, buying churches, turning them into mosques. Because after all, that's what we did to them. I don't know what the hell this guy's talking about. It doesn't matter. This is an attitude. This is an ideology that's unbelievable. Christians in this country aren't talking about conquering synagogues. Synagogues in this country aren't talking about conquering churches or mosques or anything. You know, live and let live. That's our Constitution, pretty much. But that's not what this man believes. And I want you to listen carefully. He's not the only one. He's not the only one. Cut one, go.
We are buying these churches. We bought 3 churches so far, converted them to masjids, and now we have one we are buying with a school to make it, because we have to serve the same people. The people who were part of that community, one day they will be Muslims. So we'll make it into a masjid and an Islamic school.
A masjid is a mosque.
Their children, inshallah. 100 years ago, they invaded the Muslim world and they built missionary schools and destroyed Islamic schools and masjids. Today, we bring the favor back, turn their churches into masjids and their schools into Islamic schools. Bring the light of Islam to here.
Turn their churches into mosques and their schools into Islamic schools. Does that sound like somebody who wants to get along with other faiths, with other people? No. It's about conquering, vanquishing. That's what it's about. Us. Targeting us. And by the way, by us, I also mean other Muslims who don't buy into this stuff. That's why in the Muslim world, so many Muslims are slaughtered. More Muslims slaughter Muslims than anybody else. It's because of an attitude, a mindset, an ideology that is either you buy into exactly what's being said or you are obstructing the goal of the faith. So you have to be destroyed. And that's why you have Muslims slaughtering Muslims all over the world, especially in the Middle East. And that's why you have jackasses like this making the statement that he's making. There's not another person in this country with a microphone or a TV that's even telling you about this. Instead, oh, no, the Jews in Iran. Is that the Jews? He's talking about America here. He's talking about churches. He's talking about Christian schools. Taking them over. Putting mosques and Islamic centers in their place. That's what he's talking about. The majority faith in America is Christianity. That's what they're at war with. Right here. Go ahead.
Go. Institutions that have been there for a long time, but they emptied out. And now it is time to be filled with Muslims, with reverts, converts. This is an election year. But we're not going to be happy with either candidate. We have to be happy when Islam becomes the best candidate for us.
Got that? Got that? You understand? He's not interested in working within a Western, enlightened, constitutional, Republican system. No. We have to take over. We're in control. We're in charge. And just imagine if this guy does. Just imagine. This guy's a big muckety-muck. President of American Islam and chairman of the board of the Islamic Society of Central Florida. Was elected to these positions. His views must be ubiquitous. They must be very popular. He's got a plan, like CARE has a plan. Like Students for Justice in Palestine have a plan. A plan to conquer America. That's what they say over and over again. You want a great website? I've told you before, memri.org, MEMRI.org. That's where this is from. MEMRI.org. You should bookmark it and check it out. Go ahead.
I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give Islam the victory in this country.
Mm-hmm. The victory in this country. The victory in this country. Got it? It's a bigwig. It's a bigwig. He's an imam, after all. It's a bigwig. I don't know why I need to persuade people. It's crazy. These people, their own words and comments should be persuasive. Donald Trump will meet the depressed. I don't know why he deals with the Kristen Welker. She's a real reprobate. She's a real moron. A hack. I'm going to play you the full answer that he gives to the question about Iran. And maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene's listening. Maybe she opposes Donald Trump on Iran because she's the leader of the populist movement. If I went down the street and asked anybody around here, who is Marjorie Taylor Greene, they wouldn't have the foggiest idea. Not the foggiest idea. But she speaks for millions and millions, don't you know? No, she doesn't. Cut 2, go.
Let me ask you about Iran. Your administration has had conversations with Iran. Is the goal of these talks limiting Iran's nuclear program or total dismantlement?
Total dismantlement.
That's all you'll accept?
That's all I'd accept. Okay. Now, there's a new theory going out there that Iran would be allowed to have civilian, meaning to make electricity. But I say, they have so much oil, what do they need it for? But, I've seen it with other states where they're looking to do something and they have a lot of oil. Iran has tremendous energy. I put sanctions, if you know that. I put pretty strong sanctions on 2 days ago on the oil. The sad part is that if Biden didn't get involved, if we had a competent president, you would have never had the attack on Israel. October 7th would have never taken place. Hamas would have had no money because Iran was broke. And now in a period of 4 years during the Biden administration, they became very rich. They have over $300 billion cash in the bank. And they had no money. They were ready to make a deal with me. And it's very sad. Because of this rigged election, they didn't do it. Just another thing you can mark down to a bad election.
It's interesting what you're saying, though, because Secretary Rubio has said that he would accept, or the idea is there is an openness to accepting peaceful civil nuclear program.
Well, that's what people, I didn't say anything contradictory. I said that people are talking about that. And this is something that's really pretty new in the dialogue. And I'd have to be, my inclination is to say, what do you need that for? You have a lot of oil.
So you want total dismantlement, bottom line.
I think that I would be open to hearing it. Civilian energy, it's called. But, civilian energy often leads to military wars. And we don't want to have them have a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple deal. I want Iran to be really successful, really great, really fantastic. The only thing they can't have is a nuclear weapon. Okay. If they want to be successful, that's okay. I want them to be so successful. And, the Iranian people are incredible. I just don't want them to have a nuclear weapon because the world will be destroyed.
But Marjorie Taylor Greene says that you're undermining the populist movement in your base because you oppose Iran getting a nuclear weapon. Now, what they'll buy, what a Marjorie Taylor Greene will accept, because she's a moron, is a weak deal. In other words, she would accept the Obama deal. That's fine. That's what she wants. And then Trump leaves office, and then the next president, there's a breakout. There's a breakout. I don't think you, the American people, want Iran to have a nuclear weapon, period. I don't think you're stupid. In fact, I think you're smart. Marjorie thinks you're stupid, and so do people like her. You understand that when a country says death to America 4,000 times a day, that they mean it. You understand that they're trying to get a nuclear weapon and intercontinental ballistic missiles so they can reach places like the United States, or blackmail us, or threaten us, or cut off our sea lanes, or economy, or whatever it is. The fact that the little country of Israel has carried on its shoulders, only with the support of the United States, really nobody else, this battle in that region, doesn't mean we should start attacking Israel and claim that our desire to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon is because of the Jews in Israel and the foreign wars, and we're sick and tired of fighting for Israel. We don't fight for Israel. They've been fighting for 77 years defensive wars. Their soldiers, their sailors, their pilots. They've never asked for a single one. And they've done a pretty damn good job. They've won every war that's ever been launched against them, haven't they? And now they've changed the Middle East. They've made it possible for the rest of the free world, the rest of mankind, the rest of real humanity, the West, to say enough is enough. The question is whether or not we are willing to do it. Oh, but you don't understand. It's a populist movement. Lady, it's not a populist movement for Iran. It's a populist movement for America. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by Big Wireless that comes with a lot of fine print, like requiring you to sign up for 4 lines plus activation fees, plus. And the end of the day, you've paid for that free phone 3 times over. Pure Talk is my sponsor, my wireless company. They have a much better offer. With a qualifying plan of just $35 a month, you can get a brand new Samsung Galaxy A26 for free. Now, this phone is virtually indestructible. Gorilla Glass captures beautiful wide-angle photos with next-generation camera lenses. All you need to do is switch to Pure Talk. For just $35 a month, you get unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data, more than you'll ever need, with mobile hotspot, all on one of America's most dependable 5G networks. Go to puretalk.com/Levin to make the switch. Again, that's puretalk.com/LEVIN to claim your free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan when you switch to Pure Talk. Wireless by Americans for Americans. We're here with Representative Mike Lawler, New York's 17th Congressional District, to discuss this issue, the IGO Anti-Boycott Act. Congressman, there's a lot of lies and stupidity that is circulating out there about this. What does this act do, and what is it based on? Isn't it based on an older law?
Yes, Mark. Thanks for having me on. Unfortunately, as is often the case in Washington, a lot of misinformation flies, and people don't even try to get the actual facts. So I appreciate you covering this. The IGO Anti-Boycott Act is very specific. It ensures that IGOs like the United Nations or the EU...
IGO is an intergovernmental organization, one of these globalist organizations. Yep.
Correct, which you would think most people on the right would be opposed to. But IGOs are subjected to the same existing federal law, the Anti-Boycott Act of 2018, to make sure that no foreign government or IGO like the UN are coercing American businesses into supporting boycotts against American allies. The objective is to ensure that no American business undermines American foreign policy by supporting the type of boycott like we've seen with the BDS movement against Israel, for instance, at the behest of a foreign government. So let's think about whether you have something like China trying to force American businesses to support a boycott against Japan. This is not specific to Israel alone, but the BDS movement, obviously, born out of academia and left-wing groups, has obviously targeted the state of Israel. And so this law would apply to make sure that no business, U.S. business, is undermining American foreign policy by supporting the boycotts sponsored by foreign governments or IGOs. It does not preclude free speech. It does not force somebody to do business in, say, Israel or against their wishes. If they choose not to sell their product in Israel, that's their choice. All
right. So if somebody wants to, if somebody wants to set themselves on fire and go down the street and scream about Jews in Israel, they're still free to do so, are they not?
Correct. Sadly, we have a lot of people that would do that. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions real fast because I know you're short on time. So basically what you're saying is some foreign country, usually an adversary, trying to blackmail an American business to force that business into a boycott of another country that we support, or to boycott in a way that undermines our national security. This law would prevent that UN from doing it, the European Union from doing it, a collection of the Arab countries from doing it. It would prevent everybody from blackmailing our businesses. Correct. And this is an existing law that President Trump signed into law back in 2018, and it applied to foreign governments. We're simply saying the UN, the EU, the Arab states should all be subject to the same law that already applies to foreign governments, and the objective is to prevent American businesses from being coerced into supporting a boycott against an American ally state.
To your knowledge, how many American citizens have been prosecuted under this law and are serving a 20-year term?
Nobody, to my knowledge.
Nobody. I looked it up. Not one. Not one. Because the law doesn't provide any basis for doing that, does it?
Correct. The objective is to really make sure that American businesses are not
blackmailed,
participating in a boycott by being blackmailed by a foreign government or an IGO like the UN.
So why do you think there are individuals, and I notice the media point out 3 people and say, conservatives. No, those are 3 people. Oppose this. I don't oppose this. I support this. Many conservatives do. Donald Trump supports this. Why do you think all of a sudden we have now a cabal that grows into a bigger cabal that says, I'm going to protect our First Amendment rights? No, you're protecting foreign adversaries and enemies from blackmailing and threatening our businesses to join your damn boycotts.
Correct. And that's the really unfortunate thing. We have folks, even on our side, that sometimes engage in misinformation that just does not help when you're trying to actually address serious issues facing our country. And at the end of the day, we have adversaries who seek to undermine the United States, Israel, Europe, the free world. We want to make sure that the U.S. and our allies are not being undermined by these blackmailing tactics by rogue states and bad actors, period.
And that's why President Trump signed it in 2018. I mean, this was really a non-controversial law when he passed it. But it seems to me we have individuals who make a living out of drawing attention to themselves or grifting or pretending that they're the civil libertarians. And we're like the knuckleheads. We don't understand what's going on. We just want to trample all over the Constitution. Congressman, I will tell you, I've spent my entire life defending that Constitution, every damn syllable. And if I believe some law was being passed that would throw American citizens in prison for 20 years because they're expressing themselves, I'd be leading the charge. That is a lie, a damnable lie. But the bill's dead right now, isn't it?
As of right now, but I'm working to get it revived, and we'll get it done, Mark. We'll get it done. Thanks for your help on this.
All right, Mike Lawler, you take care of yourself. Thank you. At least tell the people the truth. If you want to oppose a law, folks, these people, at least tell the truth and then let the people decide. Don't lie. Don't lie to my audience and all the rest of the people, all these grifters out there. I'll be right back. Don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by Big Wireless that comes with a lot of fine print, like requiring you to sign up for 4 lines plus activation fees, plus. And the end of the day, you've paid for that free phone 3 times over. Pure Talk is my sponsor, my wireless company. They have a much better offer. With a qualifying plan of just $35 a month, you can get a brand new Samsung Galaxy A26 for free. Now, this phone is virtually indestructible. Gorilla Glass captures beautiful wide-angle photos with next-generation camera lenses. All you need to do is switch to Pure Talk. For just $35 a month, you get unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data, more than you'll ever need, with mobile hotspot, all on one of America's most dependable 5G networks. Go to puretalk.com/Levin to make the switch. Again, that's puretalk.com/LEVIN to claim your free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan when you switch to Pure Talk. Wireless by Americans for Americans.
Mark Levin, America's tyranny hunter. Call in now, 877-381-3811.
Folks, I call them as I see them. I really do. It's almost as if the face, the person, doesn't exist. What comes out of their mouth. One thing I learned in 23 years of doing this is don't lie to the audience. Don't try and mislead the audience. Don't drag the audience into dark places. Tell the truth. I respect you. I treat you like the intelligent people you are. Whatever your walk of life, it doesn't matter. You're smart. You can put 2 and 2 together. And you know grifters and liars and self-promoters when you see them. So do I. The expansion of this law has nothing to do with the First Amendment. Nothing. The fear-mongering is preposterous. Foreign governments should not be able to blackmail American companies to comply with their foreign and domestic policies. That's all it is. We're protecting Americans, American businesses, American employees, our country. And what's being said by those who are trying to expand this statute that President Trump signed in 2018. Again, these so-called purists, they really don't like Trump, I've concluded. They're constantly attacking him, if not directly, indirectly. Because the man is smart. Doesn't mean you can't disagree from time to time, but they're literally attacking him. And so Congress, some in Congress who have their wits about them, they've said, you know what, this should apply to the UN, it should apply to the EU, it should apply to the Institute of Arab States, or whatever the hell they call themselves, and everybody else. In other words, we should make sure the globalist institutions that seek to impose their will on America through our companies, through our small businesses, by bullying them, by blackmailing them, by threatening them, that will be a crime. Oh, wow, we're going to start throwing Christians and Jews, and we're going to start throwing them. Stupid, hysterical, idiocy. Idiocy. And I'm supposed to go along with it because it's the cool thing to do. And then somebody writes, this is what causes anti-Semitism. Things like this. When you're passing laws specifically to protect the Jews, it's not a law intended specifically to protect the Jews. It's a law to protect American businesses, American institutions, America. That's why President Trump signed it. God, how sick is this? And it's only getting sicker. And let me put it to you this way, folks. I know why you're here, and you've been here a long time, 23 years. I've been behaving myself. Don't get me wrong, I never compromised principle. But I've been behaving myself. But it's time to call these people out, and that's exactly what I'm doing. And I'm going to do it more. And I'm going to do it more specifically. People running around with their slogans. You know who uses slogans? Marxists, Islam. These people use slogans. They spew them out. They don't even know what they're talking about. They claim to represent all of you. You don't even know who they are. But they claim to represent you when they represent themselves. Most of them don't stand for election. The ones that do, they little congressional district. You know, I'm supporting the best. Shut up. Seriously? Seriously? What do you want me to do, Rich? I forgot. Dave Portnoy, I don't know him. I certainly know who he is. He's a very big podcaster, as a matter of fact. He's very angry right now, and he has every right to be. One of the, I believe, restaurants or bars that he's associated with, somebody did something very terrible. And he's fighting back, and he's not playing games. You did bleep out the cuss words, right, Mr. Producer? Turns out he's Jewish. I didn't know that. Not that it matters. Not that it matters. Cut 5, go.
So, yeah, my initial reaction was like...
Well, I didn't set it up properly. The words F Jews signs were at his bar. F Jew signs. Or go to Auschwitz. And he's furious. Cut 5, go.
So, yeah, my initial reaction was like, I'm going to burn these people to the ground, their families, everything. And it's like, you know what? Maybe that's not the best course of action. Maybe I can use this as a teaching moment. And like, before people just are like, the Jews or any group and the hate, let's try to like turn a hideous incident into maybe a learning experience, as cliche and very unlike me. But I talked to both the culprits who I know are super involved in it, talked to the families. I'm sending these kids to Auschwitz. They've agreed to go. That's, of course, the Holocaust concentration camps. Been in touch with the Crafts, who run the anti-hate group. We're going to send these kids to Auschwitz, and they're going to do a tour of the concentration camps in Germany and hopefully learn something. And maybe, like, their lives aren't ruined and they think twice, and more importantly, other people, like, see, it's not just like words you're throwing around. So to me, that's a fair outcome of this event.
It's very magnanimous and actually very intelligent, what he's doing there. And I would recommend that for the podcasters, for the grifters. They know who they are. I know who they are. They may want to take a little trip to Auschwitz, too. A trip to Poland. They may want to walk around and check it out. There's many of the death camps that are still there. They might want to check them out. Maybe check them all out. See what's taking place or what took place. When they're done, they might want to go to where that Nova festival was and see what took place. They all claim to talk to young people. They all claim that they're the new power with young people. Maybe they ought to see what was done to young people at that festival when they were going there. Many of you parents, kids of the same age, 16, 17, 18, 19, all excited. They went to a music festival, and they were wiped out. They were raped. They were tortured. They had their breasts cut off. They were shot in the genitalia. They were stolen into the night and beaten to death and murdered in caves in Gaza. Go to those camps in Poland and elsewhere in Europe, and then go to where the Nova Festival was, and go to the kibbutz that was well on the border with Gaza. See what happened there. See what was done to the babies. You know, one of the places Kufi, again, Christians United for Israel, took us was a new center that's being built in Israel. And they literally sent to these kibbutz, listen to this, Mr. Producer, archaeologists. Because they couldn't find the bodies of all the victims, Rich. Because many of them were burned into ash. Ash. They ceased to exist physically. These archaeologists who are used to digging up and finding things from 2,000, 3,000, 3,500 years ago, they were tasked for looking for tiny pieces of bone, maybe teeth, something. Because they couldn't find a couple dozen of the people. They ceased to exist. Literally obliterated. Burnt to a crisp and burned alive. And the lead archaeologist, who's famous over there, they found 16. They didn't find people, a piece of a tooth, piece of a bone. You see, in the Jewish faith, like other faiths, it's crucial to bury the body. And so families were holding on to these tiny little pieces of bone, teeth. Their teenage children just slaughtered. or in the kibbutz, babies. And these archaeologists, they needed psychological help when they were done. They'd never done anything like that before. We learned of the horrific rapes. Did you know men were raped too, Mr. Producer? They raped the women, they raped the children, they raped the men. So these podcasters, these guys with subscription sites, who I detest, I hate these particular individuals, despise them, what they do to you, the American people, and an audience that's looking for truth and some information, for you to draw your own conclusions. They lie to you. They're filth. They should check out the death camps too. The Holocaust deniers, the Hitler excusers, as they sit on their fat asses having discussions with non-experts, pretending they're experts. Just asking questions. But aren't we allowed to ask questions? Sick bastards. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by Big Wireless that comes with a lot of fine print, like requiring you to sign up for 4 lines plus activation fees, plus. And the end of the day, you've paid for that free phone 3 times over. Pure Talk is my sponsor, my wireless company. They have a much better offer. With a qualifying plan of just $35 a month, you can get a brand new Samsung Galaxy A26 for free. Now, this phone is virtually indestructible. Gorilla Glass captures beautiful wide-angle photos with next-generation camera lenses. All you need to do is switch to Pure Talk. For just $35 a month, you get unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data, more than you'll ever need, with mobile hotspot, all on one of America's most dependable 5G networks. Go to puretalk.com/Levin to make the switch. Again, that's puretalk.com/LEVIN to claim your free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan when you switch to Pure Talk. Wireless by Americans for Americans. Everything I say here you can check out, whether it's about history or economics, whether it's about the law, whether it's about congressional bills, proposals. You can check it all out. I know it's right, because I don't come on the air and just shoot from the hip. We're just asking questions. Yeah, that's the line they use when they're actually making the most disgusting statements. Oh, yes, they are. Disgusting. AOC came up with a brilliant point the other day. She said not all illegal aliens are criminals. So all of you out there who've committed a misdemeanor, which is a crime, you're not a criminal. Because crossing the border illegally is a misdemeanor. So now all the misdemeanors can be wiped off the book because this genius, I hear that she's the new face of the Democrat Party. She's a genius. She's an idiot. She's a clown. She's a Marxist. You know, she goes, they keep calling me Marxist. That's aimed at me. Oh, they keep calling me No, I keep calling you Marxist. I keep trying to get you on the program. I want to debate you, and you're a coward because you're a Marxist. I'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, and I'll take calls at the bottom of the hour, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. It's great to be back. Thank you for being there. Jasmine Crockett, why is she on TV? Why is she on MSNBC? Why is she on? She's a fraud, a phony, and a freak. I'm serious, ladies and gentlemen. There are so many smart women, so many smart black women, so many smart minorities, so many smart people generally. Why would MSNBC and CNN keep bringing on this reprobate, Jasmine Crockett? Is it not racist to keep bringing this person on as if she's representative of an entire community? When she's an absolute head case, an absolute nut? Is it not outrageous that Comcast, that still owns MSNBC, I thought they were going to throw it off, but I guess not, keep promoting people like this as if she's representative of anything but her district? She's not. She doesn't represent anybody but herself. And she's a crazy nut job. And they keep pushing her out there because their ratings stink. Why not bring on some people who have something intelligent to say, even if we disagree with them, you and I? People who have some class, people who perhaps come out of a community, whatever it is. Why this circus act all the time? And here she is on MSNBC yesterday. And she's got plenty of time on her hands because she's everywhere all the time. And what she has learned as, the bigger a-hole you are, the more outrageously stupid things you say, the bigger the crackpot, the more airtime you get on the left. That's the way it is. That's starting to happen on our side, too. But that's certainly the way it is on the left. Cut 8. Go.
Same thing with the FDA is they're going out and they're firing people, and we don't know what its impact is going to be as it relates to our food supply, and they don't want to tell us about it, whether or not our food is going to be safe. Then guess what? We need to make sure that we require that they turn those documents over to us.
It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing, isn't it, America? Do not touch a hair on a bureaucrat's head when it comes to efficiencies. If we're only about whether it's food, we wouldn't need a $7.5 trillion budget with a $37 trillion on-budget debt. Off-budget, it's over $300 trillion. Meanwhile, all of you are expendable. Remember during the pandemic? The righteous, patriotic thing was to stay home. And if you lost your job, you're a great American. Because Jasmine Crockett is not only an idiot extraordinaire, but the power of the Democrat Party is in government, taxation, regulations, the federal police state. That's where their power is. And so they make it bigger and bigger and bigger, and you better not touch it, no matter what. It doesn't matter that there's billions, if not hundreds of billions, if not trillions, in fraud and debt. It doesn't matter. The goal is power. The goal is control. Go ahead.
Guess what? We need to show up at their doors, and we need to conduct a field hearing right there at FDA.
Show up at whose door? Lady, show up at whose? What are you talking about? What are you rambling about? I think she's a lawyer. Well, that explains a lot. Go ahead.
Planes that are falling out of the sky. Right. We need some real transparency.
Planes are falling out of the sky because of what? Because of a lack of money? No, they're not. That's not why planes are quote-unquote falling out. Listen to this idiot. By the way, it is getting dangerous. What is with these Army helicopters around the Reagan Airport? You've been reading this, Mr. Producer? The hell is that? Those of us who have flown in and out of that airport know it's already tight. That airport is like one of the earliest of the airports in the country. You got these big jets landing. You've got this military activity taking place. What is that all about? I don't even understand it. It certainly has nothing to do with money. If this government doesn't have enough money, then nobody will ever have enough money. Go ahead.
honesty, and we need to make sure that the American people are just as enraged as we all should be, because this administration is truly trying to kill us, it feels like.
Truly trying to kill us, it feels like. You believe that? Trying to kill us. The administration's trying to kill us. She's one sick moron. Absolutely sick, and they're going to keep dragging her out there and putting her out there. It's interesting to hear Chuck Schumer telling us what the founders of the nation thought. Again, this goes to the point I make all the time, and I made earlier in the show. Wait a minute, I thought the founders were white supremacists. They were slavers. So why are you quoting the founders? Why are you even referencing them? Right? Right, America? That's right. Why are we even referencing them? It's better to reference Marx, who's responsible for the death of 100 million people. These people are more than schizophrenic. I've said this before. They're like Sybil. They have 23 personalities, maybe more. Whatever it is, the ends justify the means. So their incoherence, their illogic is beside the point, apparently. Are they for the Constitution? Are they against the Constitution? Do they like the framers of the Constitution, or don't they like the framers of the Constitution? Are they for the 1619 project or the 1776 project? Which is it? Well, they're for whatever works. That's all. Whatever works. Power is the name of the game. Here's Schumer, cut 10, go.
One of the traits of a dictator, Madam President, one of the traits of a dictator is someone hostile to all forms of guardrails and accountability.
Oh, really? You mean like you, a-hole, and your party? You're the ones that killed the filibuster when it comes to lower court judges. And McConnell deserves credit for this. He decided, okay, we'll do that on your Supreme Court nominees. You're the one trying to trash our voting system so illegal aliens can vote. You opposed voter ID in federal elections. What kind of a moron does that, except a power-hungry despot? You're the one who forces through legislation, forces through judges. You don't look for comity in any respect. You're the one who threatened two Supreme Court justices. Openly, right there in public. Go ahead.
Hear any dissent. Well, the Constitution is the ultimate. What do you mean any
dissent? Dissent is constant. Dissent. What dissent is being prevented? What dissent is being prevented? This a-hole and his party tried to put Donald Trump in prison with 91 charges, 91 charges in 5 different jurisdictions, local, state, and federal. That's what he did. This a-hole supported, they talk about due process. They're running from this guy Garcia as fast as they can. A multiple-time wife beater, apparently trafficking other human beings, a member of MS-13, due process. Turns out he got plenty of due process, but now they're standing for due process, except, of course, when it comes to Donald Trump in a courtroom in Manhattan. Then there's no due process, except when it comes to most of the J6ers, where you have these judges, guilty, where there's really no effective due process. Don't care about the Constitution. They want to wipe out the Electoral College. They want to wipe out the independence of the Supreme Court. They don't believe in separation of powers. They're responsible for appointing radical kooks to the federal bench who have as their mission to undermine the Constitution and the authority of a newly elected president. And he dares to talk about the Constitution. It's incredible, isn't it? What happened to the slave owners? What happened to them? What happened to CRT and DEI and 1619? What happened? Go ahead.
Thinks he doesn't need to obey it.
Which law has Donald Trump not obeyed? I just got to drill down. Which part of the Constitution has Donald Trump violated? Name one. Now, judges rule they disagree with his decisions on policy because they're a bunch of maniacs. But even so, he hasn't violated the Constitution. Even these rogue courts and their orders, which defy the Constitution and the law, Donald Trump honors them. He makes his appeal. Unlike Joe Biden, they ruled he can't do what he wanted to do with the student loan program. He gives them the middle finger. They ruled that Harvard can't discriminate against Asian Americans for admissions purposes. Biden, his government took the side of Harvard in discrimination and bigotry, and he gave them the middle finger again. I did a whole show on this over the weekend on Fox. For those who watch, thank you. Go ahead.
The embodiment of
shut up, you idiot. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
My wife says I sing well. Do you believe that? Look, I know what my voice sounds like. Trust me. But when you sing, it's a little different. Have you ever sung out loud, Mr. Producer, even in the shower? Huh? No, I don't want to, but have you ever done it? Everybody does it, don't they? Or in the car? People look at me in the car sometimes, not because they necessarily know who I am, because I'll sing to the music. And, God forbid, if we ever put a video in here, you'll see more than that. No, not that. You'll see me kind of moving a little bit. Hey, you know, the left thinks something. You just go, no. We like to have a good time, too. We conservatives. Certainly I do. All right, let me move this here, move this here. Well, speaking of Harvard, Mr. Producer, I like this Secretary of Education. I like her. She's very good. And let's see here. We just had it. Bear with me, America. This is live and national. Politico. Now, Politico's been on the government dole, much like Al Jazeera. Bianca Quinlatan. I don't know. Beats me. The Trump administration announced Harvard University is ineligible to receive new research grants from the federal government. The latest escalation in the battle between the White House and the prestigious university. You see, you know, when I was going to college, I took a speech course. I thought it would be easy. It was, but I learned a few things. There are devil terms and there are angel terms, as the professor taught us. Devil terms and angel terms. Harvard is a prestigious university, even though it reached out to Nazis in the 1930s, and Nazis reached out to Harvard, even though it is the center of Islamo-Nazism and Marxism, even though Qatar has poured billions of dollars into Harvard over the years, even though Harvard, many of their professors preach hate, it's a prestigious university. Education Secretary Linda McMahon, I like her, in a letter sent Monday to Harvard President Alan Garber, slammed the institution for, quote, engaging in a systematic pattern of violating federal law, unquote, and advised him that the university won't be eligible for the funds. I know, poor President Garber. He's so put upon. Harvard is telling the government to screw off. And this isn't a government versus Harvard situation. This is Harvard violating federal law, Harvard violating its tax status. Harvard is on the public dole. It's on the foreign government dole. It's got $53 billion in tax-exempt endowments. It's sitting on it. This letter is to inform you that Harvard should no longer seek grants from the federal government, since none will be provided. Harvard will cease to be a publicly funded institution and instead operate as a privately funded institution, like Hillsdale College does. Drawing on its colossal endowment and raising money from its large base of wealthy alumni, you have approximately $53 billion head start. That's a great letter, Mr. Producer. Oh, this is more evidence of authoritarianism, don't you know? Fascism, Hitlerism. During the Nuremberg trials, I don't think it was Attorney Jackson at the time, a prosecutor, but a prosecutor who was pointed at by one of the Nazis on the stand and was calling him names, and the prosecutor turned back and said, when you point one finger at me, you point three fingers at yourself. And that's exactly what Harvard is doing. I'll be right back.
More logic than allowed by law. The Mark Levin Show. Call now at 877-381-3811.
Welcome back, America. Let's take some calls, shall we? Helve in South Africa on the Mark Levin app. I hope I pronounced that correctly. How are you?
It's Halevi.
Halevi, I'm sorry. Halevi. Yeah.
Yes. Mark, I've been a student of Palestine from pre-Herzl days. My family goes back there to the 9th century. They recorded. I have family that are high up in the rabbinical field, and most of the stuff that I hear online is pure lies. But going back even to the League of Nations in Article 25, I've studied that. There's so much to talk about that it's very difficult for me to express it over the radio. I've also been studying over 50 years of Federal Reserve Board publications and Treasury publications, and I've seen a pattern emerge, and I believe we have a system, or can have a system, by eliminating the income tax, federal income tax as we know it today, completely, and replace it with a simple tariff-based system ranging from 10% to less than 0.0.
Wow, you're quite the Renaissance man. You moved from the Middle East to the Federal Reserve. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, what you're talking about was primarily existed before the federal income tax. The problem is, to get rid of the income tax, you would have to change the Constitution. That would require a constitutional amendment. You think that could happen?
I'm just saying the following, that this type of tariff that I'm proposing, or would like to propose to President Trump and Elon Musk, with his Doge team, can in 24 hours confirm everything I can say. He can impose a tariff, and you can keep the income tax running, but you can produce more income for the Treasury.
All right, sir. Appreciate the call. No, very interesting points. You laid them out for the nation. Very interesting points. Thank you. Appreciate it. We get smart callers here for the most part. Bauman, Charlotte, North Carolina, XM Satellite. How are you?
Fine, thank you, Mark. I'm an Iranian American. I want to say thank you for speaking in our behalf. Since 1979, since Jimmy Carter's human rights and Ramsey Clark and Zbigniew Brzezinski brought those ayatollahs in Iran and the region have never had a peace.
You're right.
Only war, terrorism. And those people in the U.S., in the media, which they said, do not change the regime, we don't want to change the regime, they are the one that are supporting these ayatollahs, the barbaric ayatollahs who've been stoning the Iranian women live in the streets of Iran, live, and using the crane to hang the Iranian people. This is a regime, they are supporting those ayatollahs. And we Iranians were tired of it. We Iranians wanted peace like everybody. Like before 1979, we Iranian people were friends of Jews, Armenian, Assyrians, or Assyrian, and other Muslims. We never interfere in anybody's religious till the Ayatollahs came. And you are right. 3 countries in the region are the problem makers: Iran, Qatar, and Erdogan in Turkey. These are three evil forces which they help the ISIS, they help they fund the ISIS, they fund the Taliban, they fund the Houthis, they fund the Hamas, they fund the Hezbollah. These are
and they fund our colleges and universities and turn them against our country. And they fund a lot of the organizations, a lot of our politicians, a lot of our sports leagues, a lot of our businesses. They have bought their way in a very sinister and clever way into our culture, and they bought a lot of these isolationist fifth column mouthpieces in our country too. Have you noticed?
Absolutely. And who's paying to this is, I'm sorry, I have to say, is BBC. Those British are always.
They're the worst.
Helping the Palestinians, just like helping the Al Jazeera. They are they're always standing behind those Palestinians and all the radicals. Go to Birmingham or in England, see you're walking into like a Taliban's nest hole over there.
London has changed completely. Much of England has. France has changed completely. So this revolution by immigration, I call it, has had an enormous impact on the whole world, the free world, Western society. And I played that audio of that imam in Florida for a reason. He and many of them, like Kerr and others, have absolutely no interest in assimilation, absolutely no interest in live and let live. He talked about victory in the United States. And he is a significant person. He's not one of these lightweights. I mean, he's a mental lightweight, but you get my point. And so this is what's happening in our country. While the fifth column is talking isolationism, the fifth column is pretending that it stands for civil liberties, freedom of speech, and due process, when it stands for nothing except appeasement. All right, Bahman, thank you very, very much for your call. You know, because you live there, you know. I know, too. Let's go to Irving, Fair Lawn, New Jersey. How are you?
Good evening, Mark, and welcome back.
Thank you, buddy.
Mark, you're welcome. Regarding that imam who's from Florida, who you played at the beginning of the program, I just want to remind you, this is nothing new. I want to remind you that immediately, right after 9/11, the Muslim community in New York City, in the lower part of New York City, virtually across the street from 9/11, they had a petition, they had a desire to build a huge mosque.
Ah, you're right. I forgot about that.
Fortunately, I think under Giuliani at the time, they were denied, although they tried and tried. But this is nothing new. And you're a historian, and I love history.
No, well, what's new is the extent of it, and what's new is they're open about it. I mean, it's not. This guy's talking about. They weren't saying that they wanted to conquer the United States, victory over the United States, even though that was their intent. This guy's right out of the closet. He's saying that's exactly what we want to do. And they're more and more brazen about this, as they are in Texas and other parts of the country.
Absolutely. This is how they show conquest, the dominance. They've done this in the Middle East. They've done this in Spain. All
right, let me ask you a question. You think it's okay if Iran gets a nuclear weapon in their intercontinental ballistic missiles?
Absolutely not, Mark, please.
Oh, you must. Are you a neocon or a warmonger?
I'm not a neocon. I'm not a warmonger.
You're a red-blooded American who's smart. That's what you are.
I'm a realist. Thank you.
All right, brother. Take care of yourself. Thank you for your call. Gene, Palm Beach, Florida, the great WJNO. We love that station. We love our man, Brian Mudd. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Mark. It's a pleasure listening to you. I have a question, and that is this. Can you please enumerate where in the Constitution and or the Bill of Rights it enumerates the rights of illegal aliens?
Nowhere.
So why doesn't the Republican Party?
Because it talks about people. And so what the left does, what the judges do, is they distort the history of the Constitution. They distort the history of immigration. They distort the 14th Amendment. And the judges go along with it. There's really nothing the Republicans, quote unquote, can do other than begin to remove some of these judges and send a signal, starting with this guy Bozoberg in Washington, D.C. That would be a good start.
I tell you, I'd love to see advertisements on the television every time the Democrats come on one of these shows and talk about, quote, their rights. Say, show me in the as I said to you, show me in the Constitution.
Oh, then they'll switch. They'll say, they're written by slavers. So then one hand they wave it around and claim that they defend it, and the other hand they trash it. Good call, my friend. A lot of good calls. I appreciate it, sir. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
I see our buddy Stephen A. Smith is making his rounds on whether he'll run for president or not. Yeah, I love the guy. I really do. He's a good man. I enjoy him. He's a good friend. Smartest guy. I mean, really smart, especially when it comes to sports. He's like the Rain Man. Rain Man. I can debate anything, but I can't debate that. That's just too smart. When it comes to sport, I mean, the guy's got the numbers. They're all there. He's not running for president. This guy is so smart, he's running circles around the media. They keep asking him if he's running for president. If the Democrat Party doesn't change, he may run for president. Son of a gun. I should have figured that out, Mr. Producer, don't you think? I'm thinking about running for president. Yeah, right, okay. But you know, he knows how to play these people. That's my take on it. He knows how to play these people, man. He's got them. Guy just signed, didn't it say in the paper $20 million a year? I don't know what it is. I'm not giving that up. That's not happening. I wonder if Joe Rogan would be welcome there. What do you think, Mr. Producer? Or our buddy Tucker? Or a whole conga line there? Maybe they should show up and see what America's like. Christians and Jews. Christians united for Israel. Wow. So here's my travel recommendation. First, they go to Auschwitz or Dachau, and so that they see that the experts that they're bringing on are a bunch of buffoons and liars, and they can actually see what was happening. Go there, touch it, feel it, see it. Think about it. Then go from there to the Nova Festival location. That's no Nova Festival location anymore. And see what took place there. The debauchery of the teenagers who are going to a music festival. Take a look at it. And then go to the kibbutz, the kibbutzim, and talk to the archaeologists that had to go there and were looking for little shards of bone or teeth. And they were able to identify 16 human beings that were obliterated from the face of the earth, burned alive. Then when we're done doing that, they come to the United States and join us. Christians United for Israel. On the 20th annual event, Washington Summit, they can join us June 29th to July 1st and talk to all the people there. Same with Marjorie. Marjorie, whatever they ask, whatever the name is. What is it? It doesn't matter. She can join us too. And she can talk about forever wars and how it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear war. Let's do it. And I would encourage all my Iranian friends to come who were thrown out of their country or fled their country. And let her explain to you why it's okay for that regime to have a nuclear missile aimed at the United States. Let her explain that to you. It's okay. It can be managed. We need to start turning out in big numbers. We need to start being heard in big numbers. These people are a small cabal. We are the American people. You are Mr. and Mrs. America. You don't want these bastards staring us down with nuclear missiles, and neither do I. Period. Because we love our family. We love our country. We don't want to hear the lies and the excuses about forever wars A nuclear war is not a forever war. It's over in minutes. We don't need to listen to the morons, the isolationists, the appeasers of the enemy. We're not warmongers. We're red-blooded Americans. They should stop putting us down and stop putting down our country and stop putting down our president. It's good to be back. We salute our armed forces, police officers, firefighters, emergency personnel, our truckers, the men and women in the Ukraine, the men and women in Israel, and you, the American people, you, Mr. and Mrs. America. It's my great honor, and I am blessed to have you right there. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.